I'm Ryan. I'm going to talk about going from how not to get ML models into production to maybe there's a path to get them into production. Yeah, so a bit about me. I'm from iterative.ai, better known as DVC, which is our flagship product. So we have two websites. You can look up both. So I'll plug for myself and my LinkedIn as well. So we're going to go over 4 topics today. People are probably familiar with each of these. Everyone's probably got their favorite. Some of them might even be flame war. People have been in flame wars about some of them, I'm sure. But so we'll just jump into the first one here, which is manually executing every line, or do you automate things? So some people, they just want to do everything manually. Automating everything is like kind of, it just gets things, takes longer, right? So, here's some common pitfalls that people run into. Oh, the pip installs changed and all this version change. The favorite one is someone's on vacation. They hard-coded their LDAP into a script or something like that. That's a big one. So, you can improve things a little bit, make them better. You can do, some push button delivery, CI/CD, so things are continuous integration and just get pushed out automatically. Testing's included in that. We'll get to it. But here's what's best is schedule jobs. Whenever new data comes in, it can automatically start the training. So you're not wasting any time. Either you're starting to train with the next model, and you can even automatically deploy and only engineer times when things fail. Well, that brings us to our next thing, which is testing. Because a lot of times when things fail, it's because maybe you didn't test it well enough. So, people are like, hey, I never make mistakes. I'm a good, well, I don't know. Does anyone really think that? I'm not actually sure, but it's in the meme. But so, yeah, so, you think this works, and but you gotta, testing just slows you down. It's like I'd be on my second project by now if I wasn't spending all this time like writing tests, and you had the code review and all that. So people then realize the pitfalls in this, and then they want to just do testing, but then sometimes like, oh, that was just numerical error why that test case fails, and it's logically correct. You start removing test cases, and then, that brings us to my next slide, which is if you really want to do good testing, you can have property-based testing invent the test cases for you. And this actually is faster once you get used to it. But I think this is a topic for another day's lightning talk. Which brings us to another topic, which is dependency bugs. Because in practice, it's actually the case that a lot of test failures are the result of dependency bugs, because unfortunately in Python, a lot of stuff is not actually backwards compatible a lot of the time, unfortunately. So, especially then I notice a lot in ML projects, people get really excited about like a new modeling idea. So they just want to go and do it. And then they don't, know what else to do. So they don't bother setting up like environments and stuff like that. But we have tools for this, which is like pip and pip virtual environment and conda. Which one you use exactly is not as important as long as you're using one of them. This is probably a flame war slide here about which one is actually the best one to be using. But you can take it to the next step, which is Docker, which is going to not just do your Python dependencies, which will manage all your system dependencies too. And then at least in theory, you should be able to reproduce any execution and debug it years from now. And then our final one, which is everybody's favorite, this is often the flame wars, is kind of, that's why there's a flame here, I guess, which is notebooks. It's like when you use them, when you use notebooks, when do you use libraries, it's like screws with nails, I say. And people say that, people who win competitions a lot, they use notebooks, but the ops people always hate them. So then there's like this argument about that. But so they can be very effective, but a lot of times it ends up like this, where it's a nightmare with the directories. So then at least use JupiText. I'm a big fan of JupiText. Everyone using notebooks use JupiText. At least it's like easier to version control your notebooks and get like the right logical diffs. So yeah, just at least use JupiText. That's better. But if you want to go a step further, you can version control your notebooks with JupiText and Git, but you can also version control your data using DVC or Git LFS, because this is not an ad for DVC. And also you can use code formatters to make the right logical changes. And then finally, this was partially inspired by a community member, Eric. So we're going to give him some credit here at the end. So thanks, Eric, for providing some of this content for us. And thank you for attending.